there. They have investigated.
Exactly.
They have just chosen it because they don't want the public to, you know,
that's what they've asking that we support SEC against
because they have got to conduct
it's not SEC against Mesgo, please, Selorm. We have to support SEC to do its job.
In this case, it's doing the job against Mesgo.
It's against.
No, it's not against.
It's not really against. It's not Mr. A versus Mr. B.
What I'm even understanding,
the biggest problem Ghana has is institutional failure. And we'll come to the auditor general matter as well.
Let's allow someone to conclude his point.
So that's the point. So it was just to say that let's support SEC. It's not something that can be regularized because the problem is deeper and far more complex.
Okay, that is a bigger statement.
Yes, that much I'm sure of. That's why SEC says they should shut down.
So if you don't understand something, you say
it is not right to suggest that SEC us at this stage doesn't understand.
Exactly. But you say that it's very difficult to regularize.
Yes, it's impossible because of the way they've gone deeper. They've gone deep.
Deep how?
In terms
if you don't understand their operations,
SEC has understood it. That's why they've even said it's.
I'm only taking your own words actually.
So.
Look, guys,
they told us they have a mind.
Remember, Selorm, you first asked
that's what I'm saying. That we need to understand
a bit about it. Remember that. So from our understanding of it, you basically take the what you've gathered, okay, the depositors' funds, and we put in long-term investments. Okay, that's what makes it capital. Okay, so in the capital market, the borrowers' funds and all that are used, okay, to raise as funds for long-term investment. So SEC has done that investigation. That's how come they've seen that this business model, the gold and all those things that are being taken, okay, are being used for long-term investment. And having done everything, they've said that no, this is a very dangerous model because the man has not set up such a structure. You see, he's not set up. Thank you, Sydney. He's not set up such a structure.
You know that they have a mind.
Manage it long-term. You see, that's why they say shut down. Under the law, Section 109 says that. So, and SEC specifically says that this gold-backed security. Okay. So 109 says that before you operate as a investment advisor, broker, dealer, venture capital, okay, this custodian services, all these, you should have a license.
That's basic.
Yes, that's it. 109 of the Act 929. And if you fail under Section 206, then it means that they will pay an administrative penalty, 4,500 penalty units. A penalty unit is 12 cedis, so multiply 4,500 by 12. But that's not even the more severe sanction. The biting one is that because it's a crime, you could be prosecuted either by the Attorney General or when the Attorney General gives permission or is consent to SEC to prosecute. And the sentence is a minimum of 4 years and a maximum of 5 years. You see, yes. So that's what 206 says. So for me, to end on this, I think that to the extent that you see, you and I, we are limited, okay, by the information we have here. But at least SEC is confirming to us that they have been there, they have investigated, and they've seen that from the business model. When this is active,
it's not a sustainable model as well.
Exactly. We don't want to call it a Ponzi scheme.
That is their power.
You see, you don't want to call it like that. But to the extent that SEC is being in there, and they've seen that this is capital market, they are taking this investment and using them long term. Yet you are not structured to be able to do this long term investment. You should shut down.
Very well. Quickly, what's the way forward? In all these men's gold, SEC, BOG, pass?
I think there should be regulatory cooperation on the part of the men's gold managers. If they're actually doing something honest and clean, they should just engage them continuously. We should allow Gbam Tete to work. There have been a lot of mess in our securities market. I'm a director of one of the firms that are regulated by them. And we know the mess in the industry, okay? He is taking steps to fix this industry. The mess and the rot in the industry, it's big. And it poses a bigger economic risk to us as a country. So I think these are the steps that he's taken, which allow him to work. Men's Gold may have actually taken the money, invested in things that may have legitimized the ability to pay those returns. But did the customers really realize what they were paying for? And is SEC in a position to assess whether every return, because without firm, they come in every time. What money have you taken? Where have you placed it? Are you going to continually be in a position to honor your obligation to the customer?
Absolutely.
Are you being risky? Are you managing your risk within the confines of the customer's expectations? They regulate every one of that. What you have here is somebody is taking the money. What is actually doing with the money? Customers don't know. They know that they've given you gold, and then you say you are trading the gold. Is it the gold that you are trading? Or you are trading bitcoins? Or you are trading some other cryptocurrency? Or you are trading something else?
Yeah, which you need to understand.
They need to be able to know at every point in time. If you're actually doing bitcoins that maybe yielded the returns that you were promising at the time, should you even be promising anybody a return? That's the first question. Should the people really know the risk that they are buying? When you put money in the bank, you know what risk you are buying. The bank is supposed to be lending the money to somebody. You're actually investing in his lending capacity. That's the risk that you are buying. So that clarity is required for us to have a sustainable financial sector. So I think that Ghanaians, everybody, let's stay back, rather engage SEC to work quickly. And more importantly, anybody who has failed in the execution of his role since Men's Gold started, if there's any lapse in the process, everybody must be called to book. The absence of accountability in the culture of our governance is what's destroying this country. And we must start dealing with people. From this Bank of Ghana matter to wherever Kominini, everybody must answer. Because you can't use taxpayers' money to face it off. And anybody too should know this one. If government don't know, and you use my tax after 35% that I'm still suffering from.
So you are part of the above 10,000 people.
I'm inside. And I'm feeling it by writing a letter to the president very soon.
You're also inside.
No, and I support it.
Franklin is inside.
I fully support it.
All my guests are inside the 10,000 above bracket.
I run an agricultural enterprise. I have tax-free status.
So nobody would use my 10 peswa to go and underwrite this kind of risk.
Did they engage you before they do?
I'll sue them. Security and Exchange Commission
Come and join me.
In the week 2 days ago issued a statement asking the public or cautioning the public not to patronize unlicensed investment schemes. A portion of it says the unique selling proposition of these schemes and products is the unreasonably high rates of return or interest per month or year promised the investor or promised the investor public. Some of the guaranteed returns range from 6, 10, 20, 40, and even as high as 70% a month, translating into 72, 120, 240, 480, and 480% a year, respectively. Some of these high rates of promised interest are surprisingly dollar-denominated. Proper disclosure on risk and ability to pay are not made by these entities. So on that score, we will conclude this part of the discussion and move to the next. And I mean, I will have to start with you again because I mean, you were on that committee. The Bost Movimpina Zoop oil evaporation thing. Last night we heard that the oil which was stored at the Zoop oil premises.
Is that part of the conversation for today?
Yes. Which was stored there by Bost and the NPA, got evaporated about 671,000 liters.
It's hot outside.
And I mean, I'm just surprised. How can such huge volumes of petroleum products just evaporate under what conditions?
So what time frame? Which
I think it's within a year because it was in June 2017 that we heard about the off-spec fuel. So maybe between that period,
so was it recent?
And now, yes, recent.
Okay.
I mean, in about a year, we've had such volumes.
It depends on where they're storing.
It's climate change.
Climate change.
All right. So you were on the committee. Can you take us through how you got to know? So how you got to know of this disappearance of the oil?
One, there have been 2 committees on this matter. So probably just need to clarify that. There was a committee that was set up as an investigative committee by the Minister of Energy last year when the news broke out. That was led by, I think, Dr. Dakwa from the KNUST.
The one which cleared
No, that committee didn't clear, and with nobody has seen the report. As we speak.
As we sit.
The clearing, I think, was done different by the BNI
By the
and
BNI,
National Security. So they came up with some sort of clearing. So I'm not too sure. Well, whether there was a report, that's a different matter. So that one, there's that committee that was set up to investigate and definitely come up with all kinds of recommendations and all that. So that work, I think, has been done. The current MD, after assuming office, was still faced with this off-spec thing to deal with. What the management and trust the board opted to do was to set up another committee to manage that disposal process, which was a committee that I chaired together with other 6 persons. Our job was, one, to assess the quality and the quantity of the off-spec products as at the time of our work. 2, to review their operating procedures and recommend standard ways of managing off-spec products going forward within the BOST system. And that somewhat could culminate into a broader policy position or regulatory directive. Then 3, to undertake a technical and then financial assessment of the options that exist and advise the management on the optimal decision to take with regards to the off-spec products that they have in their custody. So this was done by the current management. And I really doff my hat to Judge Oakley, trying to take a very transparent approach to dealing with these things. It's not common. You know, the best you want to do with a sensitive matter is to wrap it up quietly, you know, and think you are managing information until it leaks out. So that's what happened. Secondly, the committee has not been the one initiating the release of this information. I think you guys have been going back and forth. You guys were just referred to us. So my speaking to you is only because we've been asked to respond to your queries that you had. So just for the record, anybody who's thinking it's not something, this discussion is not initiated by the committee. Our findings are not complete. We're still, the report we're still working on it. We've gone to ascertain the volumes. We were definitely advised that somewhere products were moving in the Zoop Oil facility and the others were supposed to be in the BOSS facility. So we took 3 independent inspectors to go and ascertain what volumes you have. What we have, and more on the tall we call it a Q&Q report, it shows that we have about 4.2 million of the products there. Before this, when the contamination happened last year, somewhere late January to February, we were supposed to have about 5.3 million plus, you know, in the system. As to how it came to 4.2, we still are working that out. We had to ask for it to be accounted for. We're told out of this 1 point blah blah. Some part was in the Zoop Oil facility, and we went to the Zoop Oil facility because we need to know what volume is here, what volume is there, and then we come up with a clear program on how to possibly deal with it. And we didn't see anything at the Zoop Oil place. I did not go myself. We sent a technical team from the committee to do that. They observed that the outlet valve had been seal had been broken. That seal was put in place by the NPA. The inlet seal was still intact, meaning likely no new product has come into the system, but somebody has broken the outlet, meaning to release the cargo. Zoop Oil has confirmed to us that they actually moved the cargo. That's the 400 plus, but what they've accounted for us to us is about 1 million. So somebody has to ask how they got the full 1 million. We can't find about 678 in the BOSS side, and some of the reports we have suggest that maybe it's a result of evaporation. These are depot operators giving us information, but we need to monitor it. This product law system doesn't seem to have occurred under the current MD's.
But when did you find this out? You found this out when the committee went to the place, so we don't know exactly when.
So there's a certain process. So there's a certain process that we going to have to embark on. There are terminal managers. There are daily dips that are supposed to be taken. So everybody has to tell us. We'll see where and how evaporation happened or not, and where the changes occurred. So we're going to take it meticulously, step by step. One thing I'm very, very, very excited and quite confident about is the commitment of the current boss management to really deal with all the anomalies that have been in boss. And the anomalies in boss have been just too much. From old, every time, from the NDC era all through, in fact, the previous MPP era and the past NDC 1, 2, and every time boss seems to have a problem. So you realize the problems are not just, in quotes, the politicians, but I think that they're also the people in there. People have to deal, we have to deal with things and persons who may have been culpable in one form or the other. But that commitment is very clear with the current management, and I think it's something that has to be supported and lauded. This spring food matter that came up and all that, it's a result of product losses. And there are more product losses coming up. I'll be filing for the BDCs and all those. Where did the product go? The spring food case, for example, one full cargo, it enters the system, they can't find the product again. And then taxpayers will always have to pay. So probably it's an opportunity for us to really get into this and start dealing with any cartel in there or anybody who is culpable. The sense of accountability, like I said earlier, is generally missing in our governance and public institutions.
You
and
mentioned
that has to be dealt with.
Very well. You mentioned that the MPA had a seal on the disappeared oil, quote unquote. Have you reached out to the MPA to find out what might have happened, whether they indeed knew about this or not? I
mean, from the indications we have, it doesn't seem as though they may have been aware that the product, somebody, Zupoya took the thing away. So there's Zupoya we have to probably be asking, did you take any cargo with any authorization? All right, that has to be sort of answered. I've been reaching to on that matter. The MPA we have also written to notify them of that observation we made. In fact, we did the observation with the MPA, so we found it out almost together. We had somebody from their place to go join us during that inspection, and Mr. Tampuli has been very straight on this. He's not taking prisoners on this matter. They are also going to look into it and make sure that this matter is also brought to its logical conclusion. But it's a process. I would actually encourage everybody. Let's take a bit calm. Let's allow the leadership of BOST and the committee to continue and complete its work. There's a part that we are not fully responsible for. Our job was to ascertain, not to investigate. So if I found 4.2, my job is to tell you that out of 5.3, I've only found 4.2. We went here, we heard this, we heard that. As to who goes in, that becomes the decision of the management. It doesn't happen. I mean, we've been with these products for diesel. You allow a product loss of 0.25%.
About what period?
I mean, you put in cargo what the judge general, that's because there's their product movement, a few spillages, not evaporation. Then for petrol, it's 0.32%. So when you run a depot, these are ways you make your money. Your actual loss will be 0.01 or way less. So, but you take the 0.25 from your customers, and then you keep that as part of your margin. So you should actually often have more stock than your customers will draw out. As efficiently run facility.
Maybe it was an act of God, because maybe the outlets.
Did the technical officers at the place you spoke to,
back into the earth.
Did they know ahead of time? You don't know before you're going there.
Not really. No. Well, you see, there are seals. There are supposed to be seals everywhere, but there are padlocks. So padlocks there. Who is keeping the padlock? Some places you go, you see that there's a padlock had been removed, and a new padlock put in place. Who changed the padlock? You can't really tell. So we just need some time. Whatever it is, the matter there will come to some logical.
So where are you in the investigation? I mean, in the fact finding.
Right now, we are trying to find the facts.
How much time do you have to do that?
I think we delayed a bit because a lot more things. We were supposed to have finished this work last week, but we've not been able to finish because new things have happened. So we need to get to interview a lot more people. Maybe in another 2 or 3 weeks, we should be fully done with it. It may not fully give you the investigative outcome you want, but it probably set the basis for further investigation. And I'm very clear from my engagement with the current management of BOSS that they want to deal with every single thing to the latter. Because this kind of rot has to stop at some point. We can't continue running the affairs of the state
and we need to protect
this way. It's crazy. You know, I mean, we raise issues. You look at products that are not necessarily contaminated, are called contaminated and given to unions in the past administration, and all that. You know, all kinds of funny things. And you give to a union, a waste management company. You know, a lot of very funny things have happened at BOSS, and I think that the management of BOSS and government should take time and deal with it, both in their time and in the previous times. Every time, what I've observed, to be honest, everybody comes and is like, I'm covering up the previous government. As whether I'm also trying to create opportunity for, I don't know. I mean, I just don't know what's up, but I seem to have a different vibe now with the current, what do you call it? Oakley is a fantastic guy. And it's very funny the way the guy works, yeah? He wants to be as transparent as the word. Give him everything.
He won't last very long.
I hope he keeps being so, and I hope.
But are you guys kind of leadership this country?
Are you guys looking for? Are you looking for the vessel that disappeared?
The vessels. It's a step-by-step progress. The man has just come. So this is the first one. The one in his possession. He has to deal with it. He has to go back into the past. How did these things get lost? I know that they're about to commission an audit into all these issues. So I mean, I think we should allow the man to do his work.
All right.
Just listeners on that the auditor general will be allowed to do his work.
Yes, 97.3 City FM. I mean, listeners on the station. I mean, we'll go for a break, and then listeners on 97.3 City FM will be off the big issue to make way for the match between Tottenham Hotspur and then Liverpool. Tottenham Hotspur and then Liverpool. The local content, we don't even have the football.
I don't support you. Has 11 is a mighty team.
We'll be back quickly to continue the discussion on TV, but our listeners on radio will be off to prepare for that match between Tottenham Hotspur and Liverpool, and you can listen to the full discussion again tomorrow at 10 a.m. Till it ends. We will be right back.
For regular news checks as they unfold, 2020 news, all day, all the time. Politics, sports, entertainment, business, and more. 2020 news. We bring you the world in 20 minutes.
And that's all the news in 20 minutes.
Hi, we're welcome back to the Big Issue 97 City TV and citynewsroom.com. So we were on the BOSS discussion. Sydney, I'm coming to you.
I don't have anything to contribute to this BOSS discussion. Honestly, I'm not dodging it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no look. All I know is BOSS is a mess. It has been a mess for a long time, decades.
Very, very long time.
All right. There's a pipeline that is supposed to be running between Tema and Akosombo or something.
Yeah.
That has been laid. That has been laid down. Not a single drop of oil has ever gone through.
No. Oil just when you pump water, you pump 10,000 liters, you get 10,000 liters water. But when you pump petrol,
okay. So evaporates.
Well, evaporates. This side for the tea. Well, that's another. This one, I don't know. Is it evaporating?
That's another story.
That's another story.
And the whole idea, and the whole idea, as far as I know, when I the last time I got into this, It was supposed to be done that way. We go from Tema to Akosombo, and then the Volta Lake transport is supposed to have been developed sufficiently well enough to carry that oil on the lake all the way to the north in order to be able to minimize costs.
Yeah.
All right. For some reason,
cost,
a sensible thing like that will result in saving of money for the government has never been done. And we're not talking just a few years ago. We're talking decades. It has never been done. I know that there was a commissioning, all right, to build about 4 or 5 barges for that particular purpose. Those barges have disappeared. Nobody knows where they are.
I think, I've seen a few at the Volta Lake Transport Company. I don't know if it's all the 4, but
have they got one or 2 of them have only got bodies? There's no engine inside.
No, it's the barges don't have engines because that's why you have a push boat.
Yeah,
to just push it.
They're
just an empty tank. Nice floating tank.
There are 1 or 2. There's supposed to be 1 or 2 what we call tow heads.
Yeah.
That are supposed to tow the barges. Across over there, and nobody knows where they disappear to. Somebody has told me confidentially that there's a confluence somewhere on the lake, one of the confluences of the lake, and that 2 of them are sitting there.
And a confluence.
Right?
I think what's being built, you often build them.
You build them on the lake. You build them at sites. But while they are being built somewhere so far away, and nobody knows what they are, and nobody's bringing them in. And I don't see the purpose. Because it's not like as if it's being diverted or used for something else, and somebody's making money out of it. So there are strange things, and the thing you have to ask yourself is this whole bust thing, all right? This whole idea of having a bulk oil storage transport company, is it still relevant? Okay, is it still relevant? Do we still have that insecurity of oil in our system?
National security.
Strategic for what purpose?
National security. I mean, we may be attacked by Togo, and then one day.
And this is where I come.
There are different policies to actually manage.
Just joking.
And this is where I come back to all of these things. We set things up. We set things up because at the time when we set it up, there was a very good reason for setting it up. It was supposed to mitigate some.
So your point is that it's outlived its purpose, and so we must find a different use for that institution.
A lot of the things that we do have their purpose.
Why do we
take venture capital trust? Venture capital trust
is
company,
still important.
all right?
For example,
which was set up in order to be able to trigger the banking sector and the financial sector to get involved in investment funding. There's no need for it anymore because the banks automatically now go to market. Whatever the market is requiring, that's where the banks go. So you don't need that institution anymore. And the whole idea of doing that was to get the banks to, in many ways, be jealous about the fact that somebody else is coming to get our business. Now, the thing is sitting down is a dead duck. It's got no capital. It's got no funds. It can't do anything. But we are paying people to run it.
All right. Franklin, Bost's been in the news for all sort of reasons like Senyo has just said. I mean, what do you make of all the conundrum he's just explained to us? Oil somewhere, we don't find it again. The people at the place appear not to know where it's going to. What should you be doing about this particular situation? Of course, the comment should be in context because their committee hasn't fully finished its work.
I think he's not confused about the issues at all, and he's just said.
So he's concluded even for the committee finishes its work.
He's just said. I mean, if government were products illegal to sell, clearly in this instance, you are seeing political entrepreneurs who have hijacked the system. It's actually a conduit to fund party political activities. I mean, that's the way it has been. Boss, GMPC, if you see challenges with GMPC, questions about somebody has bought buses here and there, these are all funnels, channels through which these grandiose scams and schemes are cooked. So it's a political, we have to face it, and he rightly nailed he nailed the point when he said it is the failure of accountable institutions, and by and large, by government systems. First of all, haven't you asked yourself how come quickly some of these CEOs or whatever immediately come into office and as if they're in a hurry to amass wealth, actually for the party primarily. So if you are not playing ball, they'll find a way and kick you out. If you are not playing ball, which means that this man has to watch his back as well. While I understand Senor is doing a great job, he's seeing a saint in him, and I agree, he's saintly. He must watch his back because these are channels.
So if it doesn't conform to the status quo, he would.
No, I mean this is the way things have always been, and so for me,
I don't hope so. Though.
No, we shouldn't hope so. But let's face facts. Clearly, these are channels to distribute rents. Seek the rent and distribute them as well. There must be some method to this. There's actually a method to it. It's to create confusion. And out of the confusion, this is the fuel fraud. It happens all over the world. I mean, you have an institution which is just now, or minus the current head, supervising fuel fraud.
So is it possible that there is maybe too much money for the number of people we have in this country?
Actually,
and so it becomes a thing that you have to steal some. Philosophically,
at the expense of
everybody else. We got far too much. Yeah.
No, but it's probably not the point. You know, when thieves have a method, they actually they take without asking, so that they can.
I thought that was what thievery was all about.
Yes. That's the point. so I'm asking you, when they are not asking, why is it that people?
Maybe we have too much gold. Maybe we have too much cocoa. Maybe now we're getting too much oil.
Yeah.
Maybe too much bauxite. Maybe we have too much.
What really is the problem is that we have totally lost our sense of nationhood as a people.
You see that issue about the sense of loss. I'm not part of that.
Listen, of course, you are not part of it.
You see,
fact of the matter is that the persons we put in office have always not had the best interest.
Franklin, so you are a policy analyst. So as social scientists, we always would have to analyze and think at the mean. Think about it. The politicians don't come from space.
Agreed.
All these politicians and all the public servants that we always have issues with, they are our brothers, our sisters, our friends. They are actually a reflection of the broader public.
But there are rules. Are you suggesting that the rules that are being
tell me who in the villages, the village constituencies in Cote, you know what I mean? So maybe Whole West or whoever is not expecting an MP to come and deliver certain kinds of goodies. Who is it that's not expecting the minister coming from the village? It is an obligation on his part.
But that's because
if his salary cannot do the house and he goes to become minister and he cannot show a house, what do we call him? We call him a fool. Our culture calls him a fool. You see, I'm just telling you, an idiot. You see, what we have done.
It's not a license to go and steal. The Ashanti regional minister recently told serial haulers, communicators of his party, that I'm not going to steal to support you. There must be some red line to be drawn. Some people can't.
Agreed.
People say they buy their mobile phone. They should actually
but guess what happens next? Those young callers will always be sorted out.
But you
see, it's a very big problem that we have as a people. Expectations of our ministers, we don't pay them, we give them money. That would not justify the kind of expectation that the same citizenry has of them. What would they do?
But that's because they have they make policies that are not helpful.
The fundamental thing is we as a people.
But Senor, if we put you at a place where you need, for instance, sugarcane production, you are not going to do a commander 1 month sugarcane.
I will not do it.
Yes, so you are not part of the
problem. I'm saying that you are looking. You have to think at the mean. The average Ghanaian, what is he thinking? When you're a minister, what do you expect?
But you know what I don't understand? What I don't really understand is that You know, with all
This
the
man wants to
theory,
control the program.
with all the theories that we have different dimensions here.
I want us to quickly get back. Let's do this quickly. Get back. Let's get back.
We are discussing
about Ghana now.
Issues in Ghana. So finish up on this.
The boss issue is just a small segment.
It's a microcosm
of everything that is going on.
Of the micro.
You see, what appalls me is with all the stealing going on, with all the theory that we can see. I mean, people are, for God's sake, even stealing fertilizer for cocoa. All right? Fertilizer that we need to build our cocoa base. You're even stealing that. Now, okay, maybe Opuni has got it right because he went and built a tomb
For his mother.
So you can see visible signs of where the money went. All right? You can see visible signs of where the money went. But
he was a well-paid CEO.
But with everybody, with people stealing money all over the place.
But you're not suggesting that he stole money, right?
Who?
Opuni.
No.
Okay.
We haven't got there yet.
All right. So he was a well-paid CEO, like
why would people steal the fertilizer? You have subsidized the fertilizer. You spend 90% of your budget, agreed budget, on buying fertilizers all the time. That's not a policy for agriculture.
Very well. Let me hear it now.
People still
but my point is this.
It's a byproduct of a very sick system.
It's a sick system.
And
no, when you say it's a sick system, like I say, I'm part of the system, but I'm not sick.
No, but the majority.
You see, what the point is this. The point is this. People are taking all this money, and yet they are not displaying the wealth that they have stolen in the country.
They take it outside.
They're taking it outside. So it's so totally illogical.
But that is why I've been making a consistent statement that those who have created business in Ghana, who are Ghanaians, who are not hiding the monies.
This is local content.
All over the place.
You are pushing it so forcefully.
No, it must be part of our daily psychosis. We must drink and eat this constantly. Because you see, nobody is going to do for you. There is no country that you engage with that country's aim and purpose is to develop Ghana. No one is going to do Ghana apart from you. And you must drink and eat Ghana. You must be totally immersed in making sure that you develop your small corner. Because no matter if you run to China, run to US, you run to Japan, wherever you go, the purpose of those people is not to help you. Boss I worked in the Ministry of Energy for 2 years. The same issues reoccur consistently, just like every time there is rain in Ghana, I can sit here and tell you people will die. I can sit here and tell you people will die because we have not addressed the basic issues. And the same thing with Bost. And the Bost thing, before it was VRE when we were getting hydro water. That's where politicians used to go and chop from. In the past, there has always been a sector that in our developmental stage as a people that they see as the loophole to go there and chop.
In fact, let me tell you what the problem actually is. I think I found it.
Okay.
These agencies, their appointments are usually done by the president. Don't forget, they are all under the somehow also called the Ministry of Energy.
They are one of the
Ministry of Energy should start giving them KPIs and make sure.
But they do.
They do.
But you see, it is not the way it is. I
was hoping we'll get to where we'll get to the Attorney General's matter. We went for the Security and Ethics Commission discussion on the what the targets or something of that sort.
Performance indicators.
Sydney gave a sprinkle of some of the projects that we plan, but we don't implement. Let me tell you, Ghana here, documents, the solutions have always been there.
Sure.
The solutions are there.
We are good at authoring such documents.
I remember when a team from Mozambique came to Ghana to understudy public sector reform. And it was a book. And the resistance in trying to reform. Then I went and visited Mozambique. The thing that they came from us a year earlier, they had implemented about 90% of those things.
But do you know there's a new public sector reform agenda costing $170 million? Do you know?
I've read that document. It's a
okay, we have to move on.
Of old documents.
Sorry, Selorm. I'm just resurrecting you.
Let him finish. I'll pick Martin Pebu's view quickly.
Then I asked for a time frame when this thing happened.
Yes.
Somebody was in charge with this evacuation matters. Accountability must come in. Those people who were in charge, we need to make examples out of them. Yoko needs to get up, talk to the people, get the documentation, because somebody was responsible for that time frame. And you see, I asked specific question, what was the time frame? It is under this administration's time frame. So when it happens like that, you can't politicize it. Yeah? Can't politicize and go and point to some different color.
Actually, what you mean is that the CEOs, there were different CEOs.
But you see, now
you need to narrow down.
Know when they got missing.
No. Well, we see, we've looked at the Zupoya drawdown. Most of it were done. What do you call it? Before the current.
So
for the Zup oil ones.
So
you have to check on the post side one.
Somebody must be brought to book.
Exactly.
And somebody must be held liable.
Very well.
Because
you know
these
that there's a
criminal.
It's always
criminal actions against the state.
It's always easy to point at the CEO and say this was done under his watch, and therefore he must be somehow involved in the whole thing.
Not
there is a mafia.
Thank you.
There's a mafia that works beneath that level.
The energy sector mafiosa activities there is not a joke.
More than the sports one. Anyway, is it that it's not maybe strict enough to deter people from engaging in such activities? Because, for example, we will look at this investigative arms, basically governments, controlled, IOCO, BNI, etc. Then we come back to the same point, so it keeps happening. What should be the way forward? Do you need a reformation of our legal system in order to give more power to, like, places in the office of the special prosecutor? What must we be doing?
Yes, it's an amalgam of everything that you've said. You see, we have to be eclectic. Yes, we would need definitely, number one, more resources. You see, the special prosecutor, where there was so much fanfare, we're all excited.
I'm pretty sure he's considering, resigning.
Yes,
I think I'm well informed that he's
the special prosecutor.
I'm well informed that he's even considering.
So we can do collection.
So number one is about funding.
I'm well informed.
We can do collection.
So like what we say in our Ghanaian English,
I can lead collection
because we hail this special prosecutor thinking that he was coming to do magic, and then a few months down the line, the man is not being funded well. So it's funding. Then number two, you see, as part of that funding, we need more manpower. The number of lawyers and investigators are woefully inadequate. So that's what the special prosecutor is facing. Asking how many lawyers has he got? How many top investigators has he got? You see that even when he needs to take statements from witnesses and the rest, they go to Yoko. We should encourage that. So please, Selorm, maybe you should throw the searchlight on the office. Do what do you call it? A long program. That would scrutinize the office, see how much funds has been made available to him. What does he really want? What has he requested for? And what has he been given? Then number two, apart from funding, the next is about prosecuting, actually bringing the investigations into the courtroom. Just last week, when we were at the bar conference, or it's still this week, earlier this week, I happened to have met the director of Yoko. And then, after asking a few questions about how the investigations are going, he said they had actually finished or completed 6 dockets on this banking crisis and forwarded same to the Attorney General. So, Selorm, that's one thing the news team should be interested in. Go interview him. Who and who or which persons have they finished the investigations on, so that we will see. And also, do you know something? He said he had recovered about 70 million Ghana cedis from some of the suspects.
71.
Yes, 71 there, right? Yeah, so why aren't we trumpeting this? You see, so it's about accountability and also funding the what do you call it?
Bodies.
Yes, and then of course the media, you also come in because you have to carry these stories over and over.
I think they should.
Let's move on to Auditor General. But I'll start. I'll start with you again on Auditor General. I want. So of course, over the past couple of months, there's been some difficulty or strained relations between the Auditor General and his board chair, Professor Duya Ajiman. The Auditor General claims that the board chair tries to interfere in his work and circulates audit reports at times he doesn't have to. The professor Duya Ajiman, who is a board chair, also says that is not the case, but the Auditor General must know that he works under the board. We just want to look at what the position of the law is. Who forms part of the law? Should all persons on the board be appointed by the government? And doesn't that make nonsense of the fact that the Auditor General is being insulated by the Constitution? So, people, I'll start with you. Who make up the board of the audit service? Are they all appointed by government or their institutional representation? Do you know?
Yes, by the Act 584, the Audit Service Act, the President appoints so in other fact, out of the 7-member board, he appoints 5, because what the Act says is that he appoints the Auditor General and 4 other persons. You see, so if he appoints Auditor General and 4 other persons, that's 5. Then there's a representative from the civil head of the civil service, he himself, the head of the civil service, or his representative. So looking at it, you know that basically this is a government institution. You see, that's not good. I think that from the way it's structured, especially as the Constitutional Review Commission is shown through their work, that a lot of government appointees end up being more or less, yes, they are not that they are not independent. I don't want to use that word, that's the thing, but you can't resist it. You see, they are not independent in thought and action. You see, because a lot of it is out of patronage. You see, so the board, yes, the president appoints basically 5 of them, and the head of the civil service also basically is a government. Once he's a government employee, you know that most likely his loyalty will be with government. Somebody mentioned this point that you know, I don't know if it's okay to all of you, that Shraj doesn't have a governing board.
A governing board, yes.
And then EC
doesn't have a governing board.
Yes. So how come that the Auditor General we've put in a governing board?
Is the governing board a creature of its enabling act or a creature of the Constitution?
It's in the Constitution.
The board?
Yes, Article 189 states it. So 187 says that the Auditor General is independent. The 187 clause 7 says, in the performance of his functions under this Constitution or any other law, the Auditor General, A, shall not be subject to the direction or control of any other person or authority. And then the other ones are about the disallowance and surcharge. Then the 188, so 189 is the one that talks about the board. It says, there shall be an audit service board, which shall consist of A, the chairman, and 4 other persons appointed by the president, acting in consultation with the Council of State. Then B, the Auditor General. Then C, the head of the civil service or its representative. So this is what is repeated in the Act 584. So you see the point I made. When you say you are appointing in consultation with the Council of State, let's not forget this is the same Council of State that we've been saying over and over, that the Constitutional Review Commission found that they are not properly structured to be independent. They are an appendage of the president. Maybe for emphasis, let's see if could just get a point or two from the Constitution Review Commission.
Selorm, since you have managed to Kwekubakulize your show, this might start all these books.
It's interesting the amount of
yes, no, it just helps.
the number of
The Council of State, is the Council of State still in existence?
working very hard.
So listen,
You during the creation of the agency.
334. The commission nonetheless finds that the effectiveness with which institutions which are constitutionally mandated to act as a check on the president's appointing powers have discharged their mandate remains a grave concern to many Ghanaians. First, the Council of State is perceived to have not operated as a strong check on the president's powers to appoint persons to public office, including members of the independent constitutional bodies.
They advise.
The Council of State is also considered in its present form and composition not to be adequately independent of the president to perform its function effectively. So they go and say the Council of State should be retrofitted and all that.
Yeah, but it's just reiterating a perception, by the people of Ghana. But the chair of the Council of State has said that they are not a rubber stamp institution and that they give advice to the president. But you don't give advice, come to the media and parrot it that this is what we told the president to do, this is what the president did or did not do. So putting this in context, can we blame them? They may do their job the way they're supposed to do it. They may give sound advice to the president. The president may take it, but the president may not necessarily come out to tell you that I'm doing this because the Council of State asked me to stop or the Council of State asked me to do it. You get that.
I get your point. Yes. Then nothing stops them from coming out. Yes,
yeah.
They should be
but they are very eminent citizens.
No,
they don't have to come out.
The biggest problem we have with it's the Constitution. We've empowered politicians too much in the management of our institutions. Yeah. Too much.
I said that. Nothing prevents the Council of State from coming out.
Nothing stops them from. But you see, the thing that you've limited their powers, and then they can only just talk. That's the only thing that you get out there.
But Professor Killer, sorry.
See, you cannot at that agree you, but there's a limitation.
Hang on, Professor.
How many people are not appointed by the president on that?
At some point.
So the point is that to the extent that what do you call it? SHRAG doesn't have a governing board above the commissioners and then for the EC, we should look to do the same.
But you see, SHRAG is a commission, the EC is also a commission, and they have commissioners who, one could argue, sit at the top and do things amongst themselves.
Executive chairmanship position.
But the audit service is not structured as a commission, it's a public service organization. And so just like other public service organizations, they should have a board. The police service has the police council, the military has the military. So I think it's fashioned in that.
Yes, and we are beginning to see that because of the peculiar nature of the work of the Auditor General, not having a board above him will be better. You see, we are even very lucky that JM appointed this current Auditor General before Green. You see that extent that should be going.
So let me. But what do you think? What do you think? What can we do about the current impasse?
First of all, this we need to fix the Constitution.
That's the problem.
Yeah, the Constitution is a punk.
I remember that.
That's the problem.
Now you remember that in my earlier statement, I talked about the powers of the president being too much in the appointment of leaders, and every 4 years
you want to give up.
It doesn't allow for consistency. And here is the case that outside of the book, somebody has emerged. Somebody has emerged that is all of a sudden giving credibility to
the institution,
the function of the Auditor General. And that person has been on a very strong making inroads and trying to help in discussions and
in fact, I'm surprised you guys have prioritized Tottenham over this particular discussion.
No, that's a different matter. We discuss radio, we are TV,
and we are still on. Yeah.
Yes.
So radio should
be enjoying this part of the conversation. This is the most important
one. So now here comes a person who originally, when he was appointed, there was a lot of issues around the person, the last minute move and all that. And guess what? Obviously, this person has shown great resolve.
Yeah.
And then, in advancing of his work, a board member, whoever he is now trying to stifle the work that this man is doing.
Master.
Look, the board chairman should resign. Forget about the constitutional matters that we are talking about.
Look,
we have seen a track record of this Auditor General. It is unfortunate that we have to have strong persons to be able to make this move, and they are not shielded or given the strength of office to advance their work. And this person is pushing the envelope, and then no other person than your board chair,
who is a former auditor.
That one, being a former, he should go and rest. Because when you had the opportunity,
he did.
You were supposed to do.
No, he did his best.
Well,
please.
But your best is sometimes not good enough. So when we say that thing, we should stop.
Well, how
you do your best. When you have done your best, your capability, and your best does not meet the standard.
So typical.
I am saying that he didn't make the name that this Auditor General is making.
Jealous.
When he was there, and he held the realm of affairs, he did not make the inroads that the present person is making.
You see,
I'm saying that let's remove that obstacle from this man's face. The chairman, you are dying. Go and rest. Let a new person with a new spirit, with a new energy, let the person continue. You can't. You see, sometimes when you are in the suit, and then you are fighting a perceived foe of the system. Then you are being fired at from behind. Friendly fire. No, it's not friendly.
He's exercising his oversight responsibility.
Now the man who was looking this way has to now turn back and look.
How can the guy work? He's exercising his oversight responsibility.
Who said? He's trying to exercise it.
For example, he stated out. You know that he's been in the news for purchasing some vehicles.
But do you know what I'm
about 6 million worth of vehicles.
Do you know what I'm
thinking? The man says that as a board chair, he did not know about the purchase of those vehicles. So
he wanted his company
I ran for 15.
Now it's 15. He's reporting company. Now 15 companies.
I have 2,500 employees.
I see.
I have been given a mandate to add value for my shareholders and to grow the company. When I take decisions, I am able to live with the decisions and go and defend it to my board.
But that's private money.
No. But I'm saying that's how
you've gone to the board. In this
work.
case, you've gone to the board for approval. You've sought approval. There's a budget approved.
You implement.
Due process.
You just
implement. And you have to quarterly apprise your board with every single thing that's happening. Look, the problem you have, I sit on one of the state boards. There's I sit on a state board, yes. Okay. And we have a big problem as a country. The problem again is the constitution. We've empowered politicians so much. And respect, this is not an NDC-MPP thing. All of them are as guilty.
Yeah.
We must take out the politics.
You are this side. We are a multi-party.
Now you
this side. You should have mentioned
we are not been in government.
It's not a duo. We have a multi-party.
You see, our institutions don't work effectively for the good of the people and the country, primarily because it is so politically charged and controlled.
It's a yes and massa.
Almost everybody on most boards are appointed and chosen, nominated by the president.
And too much power.
Where you have institutional representation, they make the minority.
Yeah. Yes, you're right.
So take the PPA. Nonsense. Everybody appointed by the president. what do you want the PPA to do? That when it's all politically motivated, contracts are supposed to come in, they should go against what?
GVG.
The only thing that will stop, will get stopped there, is anybody trying to do something above the political operators of the time. Are you getting me? So this country, the sense of nationhood again is totally gone. Our structure has made it sad that everything is, whether it's NDC or it's MPP, whether it is my government or another person's government. Even common sense has become a factor, a function of whether something is NDC or MPP. Our politicians and all of us, we fail the country. We are failing our children every day. So to fix this, almost every public institution has to be structured so that there is institutional representation. ECG is where it is because it is the government that appoints everybody. There's no sense of meritocracy. None. How would this country grow? When my place there is only because I'm associated with a certain political party. We've sent this thing to the ministries. Our directors are always being moved anytime the government moves. So now let me tell you, if I'm a minister and I'm a chief director, a minister wants to play some game, and I'm supposed to tell him and put my foot down as director to stop it, I will try it, because in fact it's even in my interest to protect the minister and get him to do it, so that his government will stay. Because when he changes, me too, they will sack me. So let's get institutions. So you take an institution like the PPA. The Institute of Chartered Accountants should nominate somebody. Engineers, nominate somebody. Bankers, nominate somebody. Get institutions, particular institutions, to run
like was done for the OSP, the Office of the Special President. I want the civil society appointed their own person to the board.
This guy is so solid. If you look at the so-called committee report that sat down to evaluate GVG, we've now seen some documents. You cry. If you look at the expertise, I don't even know where they collected those people from.
They are not correct people.
I don't know. In fact, we are coming out. We've seen. So what he's saying is actually the case. Look, this whole thing is about procurement.
It's that's the wrong word. It's Munchendiology.
Munchendiology. This guy, I mean, what's it called? And I sense a coordinated attempt to kick the guy out. Actually.
No, that is the plan.
There's a plan. The guy is getting very...
On the Auditor General challenges. Well, the information that in the proper context you get, the guy is unveiling things.
No, he is. And he's sending signals.
I was about to release that.
He's sending signals.
What is the interest of the chairman?
These things are not going in favor of the previous government and also of appointees of the current government.
Exactly.
You understand? Yeah. If you don't control the guy like before, that's why they sent this man to come and try and find a way to checkmate the guy.
The board chairman.
That's the only reason. What again?
Very well.
So if you want to deal with this matter, allow the guy to work.
I come to Occupy Ghana. Civil society organizations under the umbrella of the Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition issued a statement this week in solidarity with
when we saw
Auditor General. Was Occupy Ghana part of that, Sydney?
Occupy is going to issue a statement.
Occupy Ghana.
I know you guys have been working with Auditor General all along.
We are not part of the coalition.
Okay, sure. But I'll come to you on what you've been doing with Auditor General and what your views have been on this and past.
See, we aren't dumb. As civil society is a broader term, and it's inclusive in you, includes Parliament, and I'm expecting Parliament to also speak. When we started seeing the salvos being thrown by a particular newspaper, with all the force with which it was being done, amidst very bad grammar, we found out that if we didn't take a stand, we realized there was a coordinated attempt. Especially because persons interested in that particular media house itself was going to be a subject of investigation by the the auditor, because he's actually hinting, and the way he's moving, you start getting closer there. So when we started seeing those publications, we said, come on, this is the last bastion, if you like, a pillar against corruption in this country as we speak. If what Senor is saying, we don't know whether it's true reliable, but we've not seen any action from the OSP, by the way. If it is the case, this if we make any attempt of removing this guy, actually stonewalling his efforts, the president may as well kiss goodbye to his fight against corruption.
That one there,
and he needs to make a definite statement. I agree, and I mean, I like the fact that the president asked for investigations. Nothing the board chairman has said in public makes sense. None of his narratives. None. Absolutely nothing makes sense.
Very well.
In actual fact, when Occupy Ghana chalked those successes, where they were now seeing that, look, you need to actually activate your powers. It was Domelevo who actually did the work. And you know the meaning of Domelevo? Many people don't understand. Let's say not tell you. You know, at the end of the day, so this guy comes, oh, you can even say, you can even explain it. No, my suspect.
But what does it mean?
It means I can smile with you, but what I think about you is different. So you can be smiling with you, but if you come after you come after you.
Yeah. But I also understand
so in when he was born, he was already structured to become
Alright, well, so point is this.
Destiny.
We have found a way of activating, actually waking up a sleeping organization through the works of Occupy Ghana. If we make any attempt of rolling back these successes, in spite of the very naive, very insulting claims by the board chairman that, oh, he was going to travel, they should come and say, okay, I'm going here, can I go? I want to buy cars. When you have actually supervised these budgets already, my reading of the Auditor General is that I don't think he will be so careless to do some of the so-called very minute, quite frankly, juvenile things that are being thrown out there.
The procurement breaches.
But the point really is that but let's also accept the fact that when he has an issue, even with his own audit service, because he says to the audit service, declare your assets.
Yes.
And that's where he's moving on to. After finishing with his audits, he's coming to the politician. You, how did you buy 100 buses? How did you do this? How did you do this? So now, Charlie, the way they party I know what when you stop playing. So this is it. Now the civil society groups, and I believe, and have seen that. Look, this is our stand to help the president fight corruption. He may not have the full view of what is happening, and we really need to sit down because this whole thing about some, I don't know. I don't even want to say that there must not be a board. There should be a board. But the board must not be acting as if they are the, I don't know how to put the, but this government must also watch it because most of it
under the board. That's basic.
But that's not to say that the board is running the show every day.
Look at the constitution. The only persons that the president can change on the board are those. He cannot change the Auditor General on the board. He cannot change the head of civil service on the board. It's only 4 other people. All political appointees.
In fact, during the chairman's tenure,
it tells you the spirit of the constitution.
During the chairman's tenure, we should be grateful for small mercies. During the chairman's tenure, we only read reports. Then there will be lamentations at
Public Accounts Committee.
Nothing happens. In a very dual manner with which he's come to the public to explain those very funny.
And most of them are only public. Most of them, you see, they're public service people or the civil service breaches.
Exactly.
But not the political breaches. You don't see it.
Okay,
so this guy is now coming. Charlie, let's support the guy.
But I just want to say,
let me see this so quickly.
Yes,
Senior has 10 minutes.
You will bear with me that when this person came into office, and ipso facto the fact that he was appointed under a different regime,
last minute appointment.
When he came, look at the work that he did and the exposure that he did thereof. So the man has been consistent. In his quest to make sure that there is sanity and the checks and balances.
And actually found out that the NDCs overspent their budget. He found it out.
All right. So Sydney, Occupy Ghana, I know you guys have been working with him to search out people,
getting the Supreme Court. the chairman of the auditor board, he should go and rest.
I think that we all agree.
We all agree that
we applaud him for his service to Mother Ghana.
Okay.
But he must go and rest.
What's your position?
Young man,
put everything in.
he should take the heat.
They should never have been appointed in the first place.
Fantastic relationship, but we've not heard you on this impasse. What is your position?
Well, we have written
On this current impasse?
On the general bigger picture impasse between boards and the CEO problems. I mean, if I don't know whether it has come.
But the Auditor General's, this appears to be a bit different, because the Auditor General has constitutional insulation. The other boards are both appointed.
It's all the same. It's all the same sickness.
Okay,
it's the same sickness because it's been. It's consistent. If you look at all the clashes that have happened, look at Cocoa Board, Ghana Cylinder, ports and others. Yes. All of them is the same thing. Where the chairman of the board thinks that they have the power to become executive chairman simply by appointment. And we have written it and explained the law very, very clearly to everybody that the fact that you are the chairman doesn't mean that the CEO must come and drive through your house every morning and greet you and say, "Good morning, Damichiao, Pachomi Kwejuma," and before it all happens. It's a complete misunderstanding
of the governance
of the
system.
role of the chairman and the governance system. Totally. All right? Boards have become too powerful. And people scramble to get on the boards because they go out there and they go and vote themselves a board fee. All right? They go and vote themselves a board fee. Some of them like to be given a monthly board fee. And it's terrible.
If you look at the offices in the organizations.
Absolutely.
Isn't it also a conduit to siphon money for the parties? Political parties.
Which are the city allowances? No.
No, it's not city allowance. Interfere with procurement.
Of course.
Yes, they get in there, they like to give the procurement opportunities to their family and their friends.
That's why you have to depoliticize our institutions.
The presidents.
Let's allow Fight to finish. Jump onto the normal.
I think we've dealt with that issue.
Against corruption.
All right, we've dealt with that issue. And on a more one-to-one basis, because it's come out. If Ajimandria doesn't feel like as if he's being given the chance to do what he thinks he should do, the best thing for him to do is to step away, because there's absolutely nothing he can do to insist that the AG, the Auditor General, should come and greet him every morning. It won't happen.
He didn't say that.
You should show it.
We are talking Kasantri.
Okay. Whether it's sitting on the aisle or sitting.
However, you see, earlier on we were talking about the role of the Council of State, and etc., etc., etc. Well, I have to say here, just so as it's clear before it comes out in the public medium, I've written to the Council of State on two issues. Now, I wrote to them on JIDA. All right.
That was the last Council of State.
Yes, and said that
he reminded
they have to deal with the JIDA issue, and they should get the president to set up a better commission, and also to insist on Shraj actually doing his work. They didn't mind me.
Did you get a reply?
I didn't get a reply.
Who is paying them?
And they didn't mind me. I'm paying them. And nothing was said. So last week I've also written to them.
To this new one?
35%.
I've written to them.
That's the good thing about the 35. Now, if you pay for, don't say for put your mouth inside.
On a very, very sensitive matter, which I insist that they have to look into.
Which is not public yet.
It's not public yet. It will. Well, if they don't say anything, I'll send a copy to the press. They have to sit down and mediate between this issue going on between Shatawale and Stoneboy.
That's what you wrote to the Council of State about.
That is a vote of confidence in the Council of State.
So they should mediate the between the
do you understand what you're saying?
I give you serious matter, you cannot.
So do this one.
That is within your
they'll lash you.
they have to really get into it, because if they are not careful, they'll ruin the whole entertainment industry. You know, and the entertainment is a big money earner.
And now you are not. The chilling has reduced.
Very well. So let me. When Cindy talks, you need to relax and soak it in a bit. All right, let's move to the final issue, and I will speak to you on this, and I'll speak to Senu.
Yeah.
Right. On the normalization committee, the GFA, the Ghana football, I don't know if it's still GFA, but the normalization committee to run Ghana football at least for a period. When you were here, you complained bitterly about how government was interfering in trying to dissolve or liquidate the GFA. You argued that it was not sensible to do so, because
I said it was illegal.
It was illegal. You actually said
it was legal,
because if a number of individuals did something wrong, you don't disband the whole organization or something like that. Now, reason is prevailed. FIFA, CAF, Ghana football or Ghana government have decided to put in place a normalization committee. What is your take or your comment on that committee?
When you throw the dirty water with the baby, this is what we get. There was a challenge that came to GFA. We were to deal with the challenge and look within the law as what the law was saying and how you deal with it. And then government will assemble 5 people to go and face FIFA. Look, FIFA is bigger than Ghana. FIFA, you can't go and they cite Nigeria. When Nigeria went off 2 years, they came back under the same law of FIFA. When they decided not to participate, there was no change in the FIFA regulations. When they came back to submit to the regulation. We said that the normalization committee exists within the rules and regulations of FIFA. I sat here and I said, look, this legal case is a useless liquidation to try. It was a joke. And they pushed it through political expediency, and they knew it wouldn't go anywhere. That's why the thing is taking off. I said here that it was a joke. The Liquidation Act could not be used to dissolve a GFA. And then the GFA, the FIFA rules, has the normalization committee after a case has been made against a member or members. And mind you, what happened in Ghana has happened in most countries with the FIFA matter.
It's not new.
With the football. So they have put in a process. And it is the same process that has been quoted back to government. So we could have saved ourselves some 4 months of joke activity, and we could have instituted a normalization committee. You recall that when a team was supposed to go and speak to FIFA, and that team was cut, the directives that Galka at the time was going to FIFA was for them to establish the normalization committee. And when that team was taken off and a different team went, and they came back and told us something, we all laughed. Those of us who are within football, we laughed.
You
understand? Because fearsome.
They always one of the best stadiums. They have a women's team too.
Women's team, Sea Lions.
They are called what?
Sea Lions.
Sea Lions.
They are not like
all operate. And what was
one Lions?
No, the women kept paying for the season.
But do you know that with all this,
it would have been better if we had called them Mommy Water.
Do you know that with all this that has been going on, what is so funny to me? The team owners who have invested money, you sign on 30 players, pay them signing bonuses, monthly fees. You have administrators that you take on, that you pay. You have invested in movement of personnel, vehicles, this, that. You are still paying. Then somebody is toying with the system, and they have not connected you. Who is the primary key stakeholder in this process?
I'm sure the new committee will...
No. Because you see, we have been here we have been here 4 or 5 months on this matter, and we have come back to the same position that I stated 5 months ago. whatever it was, whatever time frame it was, the law does not change. All the stuff that they have stated, and I want you to know that they take their essence from the FIFA, rules and regulations.
Very well.
You understand? It's not somebody's wish or personal decision. It's founded in law. So all the stuff that we were doing, and we were going against regulations, was a joke, and we have not solved the problem. So now I'm asking you, with the 16 Premier League teams, with the players who have been signed up, and the purpose of a player playing is to have a livelihood, have a good livelihood to take care of their families, and the opportunity of play allows them to be able to sell their skills to the highest bidder.
But the committee itself, what's your comment on the committee? You think they are good enough, or they are competent to run football? People have said they are business people and lawyers, and so it's not a business law, it's football. I mean, what's your comment on it?
My immediate comment on the committee: where are the owners represented in this 4-member committee?
FIFA has the right to
normalization. Look,
this were nominated by.
That is why I'm telling you.
It's not FIFA who came to just nominate. So all people who tell them, okay, for now we want this people. Let's face it.
And so I'm asking you,
the FIFA people, who are they having conversation with?
You look, I am an owner of a team. You create a normalization committee that has everything to do with me, and you don't bring me to the table to be part of the process to normalize activity for which I am the primary. You see, government's role comes in when you deal with a national team, because when you use Ghana and the flag, and you use that as the basis of representation of an activity, government comes in. But the local play, the teams, where's government's role? What money do they give the teams?
Enable environment.
What is it that what enable environment? What enable environment? They have no role, no investment, anything in the
problem with the committee.
So I'm telling you,
the first problem with the committee is that there's nobody from sharks and sea lions on it. The next problem I have is that there's a Kotoko man on the team. Has 11 is a mighty team. Has 11 is a mighty, and with all, we are over 100 years old. We are not represented on the committee. We are the most experienced. We are the oldest team in this country. I see that they went to put Kotoko man and they didn't put phobia inside.
All right, but that is a mighty team. My credits are ruling on that.
One last on the issue of accountability again here. So how come is it that we pay people? We pay people in this country with our money, and they didn't know this? Why did we spend resources to go and chase a case when we know that thing will go nowhere?
No, all right, that one is not a great statement.
On that note, this is how we conclude this edition.
Normalization.
Guys, your microphones are off. Our time is up. This is how we conclude today's edition of The Big Issue. We came to you live from our studios at number 11, Dr. Martin Lupin Adabraka in Accra. My guest this morning have been Senyo Hosi, who is a CEO of the Chamber. You've confused me. It's a CEO of, and then Martin Pebu, private legal practitioner. Nana Ofori, who is the director of operations of the PPP. Sydney Kesley-Hayford.
Businessman.
Yeah, and he's a businessman too. He's a businessman too. All right, and Sydney Kesley-Hayford, who is a member of Occupy Ghana and a financial analyst, and Franklin Kujo of Imani and Imani Africa, and advisor to the chief of Lolobi. My name is Selorm Adonoo, and I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. Have a good weekend, and we'll meet again same time next week.